Our study explores the effect of warm milk on attentiveness. Many people struggle with insomnia, and although it cannot be cured completely and permanently at the moment, there are little tips and tricks that can reduce it. A common old wives' tale is that drinking warm milk before bed will relax you enough to make you sleep. Our investigation tries to identify a relationship between warm milk and attentiveness. Recent research has shown that drinking warm milk before bed is a good sleep habit, and it is a safer alternative as opposed to taking sleep medication. From this research, our hypothesis is that milk will decrease the participants' accuracy in the attention test, since as we go to sleep, we are less attentive to our surroundings. We recruit 170 participants from HOFN Island by a randomization of the house numbers in our studio. If there was a family staying in that house, another random number generator consisting of the family numbers was used. Consent was gained from either the participants if they were over 18 or their carer/guardians. The flow of the method is shown in the chart. An attention test is a 10-minute test which the participants were shown a series of letters, and whenever a letter Z appears, the participants would press the button. The amount of Zs that were missed were recorded as a result. Treatment groups did the attention test, then were given 250 ml of warm milk to drink. They waited for 10 minutes, then another attention test was conducted. Control group also underwent the attention test, then waited for 12 minutes, including the 2-minute estimation of drinking time in Ireland. Another attention test is conducted after the waiting time. Our focus of this study is looking at the difference of the misses between two attention tests of the two groups. This is calculated by the result of the second test, which are named after in the spreadsheet, minus the result of the first test, which is named before in the spreadsheet. The sample mean of the difference is used because we want to know how much on average would the misses change after drinking milk for the treatment group or after waiting for 12 minutes for the control group. Here is our raw data, and the red box indicates our focus, which is the difference. Then we take the difference of the two groups, and now we want to compare these two sample means.
And here is our hypothesis test. We optimize the hypothesis test to investigate the relationship between milk and attention by analyzing the two sample mean between the two groups, which is the treatment group and the control group. Mu1 represents the sample mean of the difference in the treatment group, and mu2 represents the sample mean of difference in the control group. The alternative hypothesis will say that there is an increase in the example mean of the two difference between two groups, and this is because if milk does make people less attentive, there will be a higher miss in the second attention test. Thus, the sample mean of the difference in the treatment group will be higher compared to the control group. A new hypothesis could then be settled based on the alternative hypothesis, which there is no difference in the two sample mean of the difference between two groups. Thus, mu1 is equal to mu2. So through rearrangement of the equation, we can figure out that mu1 minus mu2 is equal to 0. Because there was like two different treatment in this experiment, so we choose the WELCO2 sample t-test. A WELCO2 test conducted based on the hypothesis test. So from the result, t-value is equal to 3.9589, and the p-value is equal to 0.00005549, which is much smaller than 0.0001. So we can conduct that. We have strong evidence against the new hypothesis. So the results suggest that there is a correlation between drinking milk and attention, which drinking milk does increase the number of missing attention tests based on our collective data.
So there are some assumptions in order to carry out a t-test. Firstly, we make sure that each sample is independent. It is true in our study because data were collected by different individuals that are randomly selected out of the population of HOFN. Secondly, the data needs to be normally distributed. From the QQ plot, it is clear that the data are not in normal distribution. They are more positively skewed for both of the groups. However, based on the central limit theorem, the sample mean will be approximately normal even the data itself doesn't have the normal distribution. The larger the sample size, the sample mean will be closer to normal distribution. A sufficient amount of sample size depends on the situation. Here we're using Wild and Siever's recommendation that n larger than 40 is considered a large sample size that would be sufficient even there is strong skewness. Our research is taking the sample mean of the difference of misses between two tests. Although the distribution of the difference in two groups are not a normal distribution, we have a sample size of 85 for each group, which satisfy the central limit theorem. Thirdly, variance between two groups of sample mean is similar. Based on the box plots, we can see that the variance between two groups are not equal. The treatment group has larger variance in comparison to the control group. Thus, a Welch-2 sample t-test was carried out instead of a student t-test because the Welch approximation gives us smaller degrees of freedom, which means the distribution is more spread out, thus addressing the difference in variance. So these are all the assumptions that we made throughout the analysis.
Although our study yielded a correlation between mood and attention test, we cannot confirm that there is a consolation relationship between mood and attention. There are lots of limitations within the study, including limited sample region, which are only in one city of one island, and a small sample size. The attention test itself does not yield a direct result because we cannot be 1% sure that participants are always paying their full attention. For example, they might get bored of doing that, which they lose their attention in the second test, or they just not paying all their attention throughout any test. Many other factors could influence the result of the attention test, so the subject or children across all age, that more tests are needed, because the younger children or elder might naturally lose their attention quickly.
This investigation was limited since there were so many factors as previously mentioned. However, this provides an opportunity for further research. We could investigate how different beverages, such as water, orange juice, and milk, impact attentiveness. We could also investigate how different temperatures of beverages can impact how attentive an individual is. For example, we could test the hypothesis that warm beverages send people to sleep, whereas cold beverages refresh and stimulate. Another modification that could have been made was a more targeted sample. For example, measuring individuals in a certain age range, such as children or adults over 20 or the elderly population. There are many aspects to explore. To summarize, the results of this investigation showed that there could be a relationship between warm milk and losing attention. Based on our data, there is a strong evidence showing that the correlation exists. However, further studies are required due to many limitations and variables within the study.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.